Well, of course, the history of every nation is different in some respects, and the Latin American wars of independence, which created the independent nations of Latin America that we know today, um, arose out of local causes and local events. But in some ways, they did parallel the causes of the American Revolution. In both Spanish Latin America and the British North American colonies, it was the efforts of the mother country, the imperial country in Europe, to assert greater control over the colonies after a period of considerable autonomy that led local elites to resist and to establish their own claim to local self-government. A lot of this had to do with taxation. Just as in the United States, the American colonists resisted British efforts to raise money by taxing the colonists, so too Spain, a country which was, after the wars of the Napoleonic era and the wars of the French Revolution era, was in dire need of money. They also began taxing their Latin American colonies a little bit more, and that led these local leaders, what we call Creoles, that is, people of Spanish ancestry but born and raised in the colonies, to assert their claim to local control. And as in the United States, as in the American Revolution, the first claim is not to independence, but to greater control of your own affairs. And when the mother country rejects that, then they move forward to eventually demanding their own independence. Now, of course, the Latin American revolutions came after the US Revolution, and so they were influenced by what had happened here, and they picked up the language of national independence and local rights, which had circulated outward from the American Revolution, and applied it to their own circumstances. But of course, the populations are very different. In Latin America, you've got this vast indigenous population of Indian peoples who, in the United States, we didn't have anything nearly that large, who had to be mobilized to fight. And so, in fact, the new Latin American nations established a broader concept of citizenship than the United States had at that time. They brought in the Indian population as equal citizens, at least on paper, not in terms of their actual existence. They brought this, it led to the freeing of slaves and their incorporation as citizens. So in a way, as the United States in the early republic moves more and more toward a racial boundary, that it's really for white people citizenship, in Latin America they go the other way and try to create a concept of the people that is multiracial and multicultural. So in that sense, they differ from what happens in this country.